Here's our first problem. Simplify, parentheses, negative 2, x to the third, y to the minus 4, everything raised to the minus 2 power. All right. Again, like I mentioned before, you've got some flexibility in how you want to handle these. We could remove the parentheses, multiplying the exponents. We could simplify this and then remove parentheses. We could change the exponent sign first, and I think that's what I'm going to do in this case. But I don't think it matters a lot which way you approach this problem. But I'm going to choose to change this minus 2 to a positive 2. So when we change this sign, just like everything else, every time you change an exponent sign, you change the position in the fraction. You might say, well, what fraction? Well, this is over 1, isn't it? So this is over 1. If I change this to a positive 2, that means I have 1 over this part. So I have 1 over negative 2, x to the third, y to the minus 4th, to the positive 2 power, squared. All right, well, now let's remove the parentheses and essentially square things. And so we end up with 1 over minus 2 squared is positive 4. And what happens here? We're going to multiply exponents, right? X to the third to the second power. I multiply exponents. That'll give me x to the 6th. And then y to the minus 8. And we're almost done. Not quite done. Almost done because we still need to end up with a positive exponent. And so if you want full credit for me, you need to end with positive exponents. That's what it means to simplify. One of the reasons, one of the things simplify means. All right, so this comes upstairs, just a y, and we end up with the final answer of y to the 8th divided by 4x to the 6th. There we go. So that one's completed. All right, I have another one to show you here. It's a little more, also kind of complicated. Here's our problem. Simplify 18 times a to the minus 6th, b to the third power, c to the minus 4, all divided by negative 3 times a to the minus 2nd, b to the minus 4th times c. All right, well, and just one more reminder. Those of you who like to print your B's, if your B's look like your 6's, that could be a problem in this there could be, problems here. Probably not when you're just looking at a video or just writing leisurely, but in a test situation under pressure, I've seen people confuse B's and 6's before, so not a problem with me. I write in cursive, so my B's aren't the problem. It's other letters that are occasionally my problem. All right. And one little observation here, this c is to the first power, isn't it? And so we never write, well, we normally never write an exponent of 1. It's not wrong to write an exponent of 1, we just traditionally leave it off. It's understood to be 1, but that's not c to the 0, it's c to the first power. Now let's take care of our number situation here first. That's the easy part. So 18 divided by negative 3 is negative 6. And what about the rest? Well, I'm going to, as is my custom, I'm going to switch the terms with the negative exponents around. And so this comes downstairs, that goes upstairs, this one goes upstairs, and that one comes downstairs. All right, so that means I'm going to have a to the 2nd on top and a to the 6th down below. I'm going to have b to the 3rd on top, it stays there, and this b to the 4th comes up. And then this c stays down below, but c to the 4th comes downstairs. So I changed those exponents to positives, and the ones that were negative I changed to positives, moved them around. And now it's rather fast to finish, isn't it? I got minus 6. Now look at this. I have a to the 2nd or a to the 4th. I have 2 up here, I've got 6 down below. So the balance is 4 down below, isn't it? I have 4 a's multiplied downstairs by the time this balances out. I'll elaborate on that in a minute. But a to the second over a to the sixth is simply a denominator of a to the fourth. As far as the b's, I have b to the seventh, multiplying these and multiplying these. Again, there's a 1, so I have c to the fifth power, don't I? And look at that, we're done. And so that's that one's completed. All the exponents are positive. All right, I have a few other little notes to give you here. So let me erase the board and I'll do that. Well, here's my first note. If you had x to the 11th or x to the 14th, what should that be? Now, one more time, I'll do it like a textbook would do it. So here's the textbook approach. You would take the top exponent and subtract the bottom exponent. 11 minus 14 is negative 3. And then, in order to be simplified, you've got to change this to 1 over x to the third power. All right, so, and that's perfectly fine. And as I said earlier, people sometimes mess this up when there are negatives involved. And so there's a lot of room for careless error right here if you do it the textbook way, because negative signs will mess people up inevitably. All right, but isn't this too much trouble? Because a point I was just making, look at the balance between these. I have a product of 11x's up here and a product of 14 down below. And so when you balance it out, there's 3 down below. So can't we just write the answer? 1 over x to the third. Very simple, right? And yes, we are subtracting exponents. And yes, I did it backwards from the quotient rule. I did bottom minus top. But when I did bottom minus top, I kept that positive number downstairs. So anyway, however you look at it, 11 up here, 14 down below, the balance is 3 down below. So I think in time, most people would just look at this and write the answer. You don't go to all this extra rigmarole there. All right, a couple of little things here. Let's look at 2 to the minus 3 power. And sometimes that throws people. Yeah, because it's a number. I'm not sure why. Because here was x to the minus 3, and I think most people, if they know they're supposed to finish simplifying it, they would get 1 over x cubed. This is really no different. It's going to be 1 over 2 to the third. And when you have a relatively small exponent of a number, I would expect you to go ahead and multiply it out. So this would be 1 over 8. It's 1/8. So now if you had 2 to the 117th power, I would just leave it. Okay, if you have a really big number, just leave it in exponent form. But small numbers, say under 1,000, we'll say, I would multiply those out. One more little item here, and this this throws people. I don't know why. They get into this mode with negative exponents, and they do some crazy things. Suppose as part of an answer, you had negative 2. There are people who, when they get in this mode of working negative exponents, will make this mistake. That's wrong. Let me emphasize this is wrong. They'll say, well, this is 1/2. Because I changed the sign to positive, I got to move the number, right? Well, there's a big difference between a negative sign in front of the number and a negative sign as an exponent. So negative 1 as an exponent would make this 1/2. This is correct. This, however, is impossible. A negative number cannot equal to a positive number. So please don't fall for that trap. I've seen a lot of people do that through the years. Okay, well, that wraps up this section.